The city streets were bathed in the eerie glow of the moon as Emily flagged down a taxi on the desolate corner. It was late, and she was eager to get home after a long day at work. The taxi pulled up, its headlights casting long shadows on the pavement. As Emily stepped inside, a shiver ran down her spine. There was something off about the driver, a sinister glint in his eyes that sent a chill down her spine. Ignoring her unease, she gave him her address and settled back into the seat. The taxi pulled away from the curb, plunging into the darkness of the night. The streets were deserted, the silence broken only by the sound of the engine and the occasional flicker of streetlights overhead. Emily tried to shake off her unease, but the feeling lingered like a shadow. As they drove deeper into the city, Emily noticed that the driver seemed to be taking a different route than usual. She glanced at the GPS on her phone, but it showed no signal. Panic began to rise within her as she realized they were heading into unfamiliar territory. "Excuse me," Emily said, her voice trembling slightly. "I think you missed a turn back there." The driver remained silent, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Emily's heart raced as they continued on, the darkness closing in around them like a vice. She reached for the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. Frantic now, Emily pounded on the partition separating her from the driver. "Let me out!" she cried, her voice filled with desperation. But the driver didn't respond. Instead, he turned down a narrow alleyway, the walls closing in around them like the jaws of a trap. Emily's mind raced as she tried to come up with a plan. She needed to escape, but the taxi showed no signs of slowing down. Just when she thought all hope was lost, the taxi screeched to a halt in front of an abandoned building. Emily's heart sank as the driver turned to face her, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Time to pay the fare," he said, his voice dripping with menace. With trembling hands, Emily reached for her purse, her fingers fumbling for her wallet. But as she pulled out a handful of bills, she realized something was terribly wrong. The money was old, tattered, as if it had been sitting untouched for years. Before she could react, the driver lunged forward, his hands closing around her throat. Emily fought back with all her strength, but he was too strong. As darkness closed in around her, she couldn't help but wonder, was this the end of the line, or just the beginning of a nightmare she could never escape?